We respectfully acknowledge the Ngāti Whātua Ōrākei people of Tāmaki Makaurau as the traditional custodians of the land in which this video was filmed.
Hi, I'm Crystal Kinsella. I'm a proud Jawoyn and Wiradjuri woman, a supply diversity expert and published author. Welcome to Meet the Mob, a YouTube and podcast series dedicated to showcasing Black excellence in Indigenous business. Here I get to interview deadly First Nation business owners from around the country and learn about their why. Tēnā koutou katoa. Greetings to all and welcome to this special edition, Meet the Mob Aotearoa. In this special edition, I'm joined by Māori and Pacifica businesses from across New Zealand. Today, I'm joined by Tony Gunn from Tiki Man Promotions and Tiki Man Workwear, who will share with us his why he got into business and why he does what he does. So let's kick it off. Kia ora, Tony.
Kia ora, Crystal.
Welcome to Meet the Mob.
Yes, thank you.
Tell us who you are and who's your mob.
Okay, so I was born in a little community up on the East Cape of New Zealand, a place called Tiki Tiki. I was a home birth, born on my uncle Mangu Nukunuku's kitchen table. He was the midwife. I think he had 12 kids and delivered, I think, 7 of them.
Wow.
So I was in safe hands when I arrived. I've been fortunate. I grew up, went to Tiki Tiki Primary and spent my formative years living with my grandparents primarily and on the farm, you know, kicking around with all the sheep and the cattle, the dogs. Great life, absolutely great life. I look back on those times now and just feel so privileged to have grown up, particularly also with a huge extended family. Yeah. So my mother was one of 19. She was actually the second youngest of 19.
Wow.
So there were 3 families connected to my mother's family. And we all lived on farms close by, and so we spent afternoons after school on the river eeling and riding horses everywhere, and you know, so we had this idyllic life. We had this amazing bush that had interesting stuff, and my grandmother Mataki Nongeringere was an amazing mentor. You know, one of my first mentors. So I was really fortunate. I feel very blessed.
Yeah.
To have that sort of upbringing. I went to a boarding school, a famous Māori boarding school down in Central Hawke's Bay in the 60s, a place called Te Aute College. And it was founded in 1854. So, I mean, it's an amazing, for Māori boys, so a school that's over 150 years old, wow. Which is quite amazing, you know. I always had plenty of curiosity and always passionate about, you know, different things and exploring different things. Used to spend hours in the bush and hours on the river and, you know, with all my cousins, and we used to have this amazing sort of time. But I was keen to sort of spread my wings and, you know, sort of always wanted to travel, heard these stories about traveling the world, and so I garnered all my mates together, you know, after we were finishing college. And there was 5 of us initially that were going to travel, and then unfortunately they all made up excuses and dropped off the list, and I was the only one that actually got on the plane. But so I've been traveling. I spent some time overseas, and then I ended up in Melbourne, and I had a family that billeted me because. My boss, I saved up all this money, actually, I forgot to say that. I saved up all this money working in the abattoir. So I went from boarding school to the abattoir for about 1.5 years and saved all this money, and that afforded me to travel. So, but Australia's been a great place to raise a family, but my ties have always been with the Māori people, and because of my upbringing, because of where I come from.
Yeah, there's such a great synergy between our countries, but also our people, because I've been coming backwards and forwards to Aotearoa for the last 8 years. I've been living here this year.
Yeah.
And I just feel
Connected.
feel
Yeah.
really connected, like as you would be feeling quite connected
Yeah.
and a part of Australia. And it's not a bad place to live.
No,
Like
yeah.
all the Māoris are heading to Aussie.
I still remember seeing, the first Aboriginal I saw was David Gelpelum
Oh, wow.
dancing in a Moomba festival.
Yeah.
And just the movement and the dark of his skin, the blackness of his skin
Yeah.
was quite, I thought, oh my God,
Yeah.
they're completely different.
Yeah.
And so I was really a big admirer right from the get-go.
Yes.
And, saw different shows over the years that sort of highlighted some of the Indigenous issues. But, yes, very similar to Māori and Pacific Islanders.
So the name of your business obviously comes from your hometown, Tiki
Yeah.
Tiki,
Yeah.
so Tikimut.
Yeah.
Talk to us about, why you got into business.
Yes, look, I've always had a sort of interest in doing and in exchanging, services with different people. It started when I was a kid. We'd get all the lambing season and we'd cut all the tails and I'd put it on the fire and I'd sell it all to my cousins for a penny, and all things like that, So always looking. And there was this Chinese guy who used to drive around the East Cape and selling vegetables and eggs and a few things. And one day he saw the ngahere, the bush behind our homestead, and he showed me this fungus. And he said, "You find in the bush and dry and put in a bag, and I'll come every 6 months and buy from you." And so I think I was 7.
Yeah.
And so I started this little entrepreneurial thing with fungi. So they were a special fungi that they sent to China. So I've always had it. So business, look,
Sounds like you've been quite entrepreneurial.
yes, right
through
from
that.
the get-go.
Yeah.
So I always had a sort of interest in business, and I was in Australia, in Melbourne. I was working in the local abattoir, playing rugby, and having a whale of a time. 3 Maori boys in a lovely house. And
Got up to mischief, didn't you?
It was full of mischief, But in the end, I formed a relationship with somebody, and she became pregnant. And so I thought to myself, Christ, I really need to start sort of taking stock of where I'm at and what I'm doing. And so I looked, I'd matriculated, I'd got university entrance, but I hadn't used my brain for so long, working in the abattoir. So I looked around, scanned the papers to see what opportunities there were. The only thing I could think of was a sales job. I didn't want to work for the government. I didn't want to be a public servant. So I saw this job, an apprentice salesman for a car business, and I thought, wow, why don't I try? So I had initiated some back to school stuff prior to that. So I wanted to show that I was moving, trying to move in the right direction. I started a business diploma at night and sort of got through the first year and qualified. And then I applied for this job, and I can remember today all these people that I worked with in the abattoirs saying, "Are you going to be a salesman? What the hell?" And I said, "Yeah, no problems. I'm going to be a salesman. I'll be a very successful salesman." So long story short, I fell on my feet. I found some good people that mentored me and trained me, and then I started this career in the car business, and eventually sort of got sick and tired of the long hours in a big dealership, working till late at night. I saw an opportunity in a new dealership down on the Mornington Peninsula, which is a beautiful part of Melbourne. It's just out of Melbourne. Beaches and wineries and lovely
Sounds idyllic,
landscape,
yeah.
very idyllic. And so there was a new Mazda dealership opening, so I applied for a job, got the sales role there, and over 12 years worked my way into a partnership with the owner, and we ended up selling it because I didn't want to buy his share without the real estate, unfortunately, and he didn't want to sell the real estate. So we both sold up. We went our different ways. So I've always been involved. From that day, I sort of started looking at different opportunities with business. And I started a business about 25 years ago servicing the car industry in Australia.
Yeah.
So with a whole range of accessories, branded merchandise, So when you pick up your new, your new Ford, you get a nice gift box with a whole range of branded stuff. Started doing business in China. So just learned, just learn on the job, really. Just learn from doing, and just had that sort of energy to just seek it out and find it.
Totally. So what are some of the things that Tickerman provide?
So Tickerman currently in New Zealand, we've been doing quite a bit of work with the council, Auckland City Council. There's a number of different entities within the council. So there's a trades apprentice scheme that we do a lot of the packs for the young trade guys that are coming in to do a course. And that varies, but it's all branded merchandise. So branding the department, it might be a backpack, a lunchbox, a whole range of stuff. But the promotional industry is branded merchandise. So it covers a whole raft of things, from conference merchandise to branding new launches for businesses to government initiatives. So it's an industry that's got lots of opportunities and lots of places to go.
Yeah, and you've got a workwear component as well. Is that PPE?
We're just launching
uniforms?
a workwear component because that's an area that I saw through the Amotai environment, where a lot of the Māori and Pacific-owned businesses were in the building industry.
Yeah.
And so I was a foundation member of Amotai. In its original form, I think it was called E Waka Ekano, I think it was, And when I looked at the businesses in that roster, I thought, there's a lot of builders, and so I looked around for a good supplier, and this Irish company that have been in business for over 100 years had just come into the Australian market, and they were about to open a distribution centre here in Auckland. So I went out and had a meeting with them and looked at their range and looked at their history, and I thought, wow, you couldn't get a better partner to bring into the market, somebody that's, they have their own manufacturing around the world. They're very ecologically, focused. And so it was a match made in heaven as far as I was concerned. But it's early days. I mean, it's the workwear is just about to kick off.
Yeah. So you've been around the traps. You've had quite a journey to this point in time. What's the legacy piece for you? What are you trying to create?
The motivation for me has always been, around my culture and where I come from. It's just been a strong part of who I am. Yeah. And so really my reconnecting with New Zealand, about 12 years ago through the Māori Golf Association, has given me an opportunity to get some ideas and meet some people, network back into the community. So I'm really keen to sort of initiate some community projects where we can bring back some ideas. Like, for example, an idea that I've been talking with a few people is fundraising for maraes and creating a range of branded merchandise using young designers to design from those iwis and reconnecting with their people in the city. So promoting the idea of raising some funds for the marae through merchandise, through the people through their iwi in the city, because this is the issue. Most of the country maraes, all the people have moved into the cities, and so I think there's an opportunity there. But I'm interested in community projects.
Yeah, that's great. Well, if you had a key message for my audience, for my listeners out there, what would it be? Would you like to leave them with?
Yeah, for the rangitahi, another concept that I'd like to sort of maybe get involved with down the track is creating an entrepreneurial course for Māori and Pacific Islanders. And I think we're natural entrepreneurs, and I think there's an opportunity there to do something in the future. I've always thought and said to my kids, dream big and aim high. And just get out there and be enthusiastic for life and just embrace it.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much, Tony, for coming on my program today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Meet the Mob Aotearoa. Make sure you share it around your network and stay tuned for our next episode.